So as the country celebrates, or at least counts down to the festive season, we're anticipating, of course, to see a lot of domestic and international travelers. And in fact, as we do that, let's take stock of the tourism industry. The industry itself took a knock, you might remember, during the COVID-19 pandemic, but we're told has started making steady progress. For more on this, let's bring in Tourism Business Council of South Africa CEO Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, who joins us now via our video link. Thank you so much for your time. Great to see you once again here on the SABC News channel. We are hearing from the Border Management Authority that they're going to get as many as, I think they said, 6 million people going through the country's ports of entry. In other words, they're anticipating a whole lot more activity this festive season. To what extent does that align with your own expectations?
Well, thank you for having me. I think it aligns to our expectations. It always happens during this time of the year, especially festive season. We do know that there are various categories of people who will be crossing the border. There will be South Africans going out of the country on vacation or to visit friends and relatives. And there are those that are going to be going home, who, live within South Africa, but, their homes are within the Southern Africa region, be it Zimbabwe or Mozambique, Lesotho, Swaziland, and the list goes on. So we will have activities at the border, the border post. For us, we mainly look at those that are coming to South Africa for tourism purposes. And that includes those that are coming in through our, ports of entry, including the airports and many others, land borders. So we look at that and say, are we going to achieve our numbers? And the numbers are looking encouraging. When we look at forward bookings in terms of people that are going to be coming to South Africa, but we remain skeptical if we're going to reach the levels of 2019, because that's our target before COVID, and we're still behind on those that are coming in from, air travel outside of the African continent, and those that are what we call the Africa air markets, those that are flying from Kenya, West Africa, and in East Africa, you've got Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and many other places. So we want those that are coming in on air to be more. And of course, those that are within the SADC region that are coming here for tourism purposes, obviously want them to come in numbers so that we can have, that 2019 number, that we sort of are benchmarking on. We can then get to that number and start to work our way up.
Sure, and that's exactly what I was going to ask you next. What do you think are the reasons behind this lag to recovery? Because the BMA, for example, is saying, as far as they're concerned, they are expecting pre-COVID-19 levels of busyness, for lack of a better term. But we don't see a lot of that translating into the tourism numbers, at least if what you said is anything to go by.
Yes, there are people that uses our border to pass through to go to other borders or to other countries. For example, there are many people that arrive in OR Tambo that will then move on to other countries within the SADC region. So those passengers that we call transit passengers, they're not necessarily tourists, they're passing through, as I've said. And there are those that come into the country that stay for one or more nights in the country. Those are the ones that we then call tourists because they at least spend 24 hours in the country or one night within the country. So what we have seen is that in the European market, the ticket pricing in terms of travel, it's quite prohibitive. And there's been a lot of people who are within the tour operation space or the travel distribution space who have said that the pricing is prohibitive and many people are thinking twice about travel. So we need to figure out a way of ensuring that we have more frequencies into the country, and therefore with more supply, the pricing is going to start to relax a little bit. So we have that part. Within the Southern Africa region, I've said, a lot more people come to South Africa for work. They're going home and they will be busy at the borders. It doesn't necessarily translate to the full tourism value chain impact. It may impact, the restaurants, the filling stations along the road, and maybe not the hotel space in a way that we want it to impact the hotel space. There are many people that will cross the borders for one day to come and do shopping and go back home, whether they're coming from Swaziland or Lesotho or Mozambique or even Zimbabwe, where they just cross over, do what they need to do and go back home. So that makes the borders busy. because this movement of travelers, it doesn't necessarily translate to those travelers being full-fledged tourists that spend one night or more in South Africa.
Right. Okay, fair enough. You speak about those prohibitive prices. We've been talking for a long time now about how prohibitive traveling in the country is for South Africans. And in a context where perhaps we're struggling to stimulate the international market, domestic markets might still be that low-hanging fruit, perhaps. What's your sense about the level of headway we're making in getting that right ultimately?
Well, domestic travel is the backbone of the tourism industry. Well, in any country, when you talk about domestic, you're talking about the most important market. And it's the same here in South Africa, because without South Africans traveling, whether for leisure purposes, for business purposes, or government travel, or conferencing, and many other aspects of tourism that happens, that forms the backbone of tourism in South Africa. In fact, there are many suppliers who would say that 80% of their business it's domestic travel. So it's very important for us, and it's that aspect of travel that needs to continue, and we always encourage South Africans to continue. The good thing in South Africa is that we do have various modes of transportation. It is encouraging to see that the train mode of transport is coming back online, and many people, could be using trains this coming festive season. We know that there are taxis that are on the road. We've been talking to Santaco because people do move with taxis going home, which we call visiting friends and relative travel. And we do have many airlines that have increased frequencies to make sure that they cover the entire country with more frequencies, affordable pricing, and so forth and so on. So we do expect that South Africans will be traveling to all sorts of places across the country. And in the main, we've been encouraging people since we've been working on the KZN and Durban situation or challenge that we had in the past, to say that, that Durban is open for business. We do encourage people to go and explore. We do know that there are still few beaches that are still not open, but there are many beaches that are open. And also, Durban is more than just a beach. There are many other things that people can do and can enjoy in that part of the country. Still the Drakensberg area within the KZN region, there's still northern KZN. And of course, there's the rest of the country, which we encourage everyone to visit because we've got a whole lot more to offer.
Yeah, I have no doubt the options are there. The question is more about whether people can afford to go there.
Well, look, with the interest rates having gone down a little bit, we do believe that people will have a little bit more money in their pockets to spend. And therefore, we do anticipate that this season is going to be better than last year. We do understand, the price points, and there's been many debates, around that. And we've always said that, as South Africa, we've got variety of accommodation to offer, from one-star guest houses to boutique hotels to all the way to 5 stars. And we encourage people to travel to other parts of the country that may not be well-traveled or not be popular at the moment. And the pricing there is going to be different. The challenge that we have is that when everybody wants to go to the same place at the same time, that would drive price up, and that happens in any business. So we do encourage people to look for many other places that we have across the country, whether it's in the Northwest, whether it's in Limpopo, in Free State, Eastern Cape, and many other, Northern Cape. Those places still have things to offer, and we encourage everyone to go and look for those packages that are there.
All right. Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. Hopefully there'll be a good story to tell on the other side of this festive season. Tshifhiwa Tshivhengwa, of course, is the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. Once again, thanks very much indeed.